People always say you should trust your parents. That family is sacred. That blood doesn't lie. I used to believe that. Until the morning, I opened my credit report and saw a $45,000 loan staring back at me. Taken out in my name. With my social security number. And a signature I didn't recognize, but somehow felt sickeningly familiar. I was 27 years old when my life split into before and after. Before, I was the responsible daughter. The one who paid her bills on time. The one who worked 2 jobs after college. The one who didn't party, didn't ask for money, didn't complain. After, I was the ungrateful child who forgot where she came from. At least, that's what my parents said. I lived alone in a small apartment outside Columbus, Ohio. Nothing fancy, 2nd floor, beige carpet, thin walls, but it was mine. I worked as an operations coordinator at a logistics firm downtown. Stable job, decent salary, good credit. Or at least, I had good credit. That Tuesday morning, I was sipping burnt office coffee at my kitchen counter, scrolling through my banking app, when I noticed something strange. My credit score had dropped. Not by a little. By a lot. I refreshed the app, then refreshed again. No, I whispered, that's not right. I hadn't missed a payment. I hadn't applied for anything new. I lived within my means, maybe too much within my means, according to my friends. So I pulled my full credit report. And that's when I saw it. Personal loan, $45,000. Opened 7 months ago. Status, active. Monthly payment, $612. Borrower, me. My hands started shaking. I scrolled faster, my heart pounding so loudly it felt like it might crack my ribs. 7 months. For 7 months, someone had been paying just enough to keep it from defaulting. 7 months of debt. Attached to my name. I felt cold all over. I didn't apply for this. I didn't sign for this. I didn't even know about this. There was only one place the truth could lead. And I hated myself for knowing it instantly. I called my mom first. She answered on the 3rd ring, cheerful as always. Hi, sweetheart, everything okay? I swallowed hard. Mom, did you and Dad take out a loan recently? There was a pause. Just a beat too long. Well, she said lightly, your father refinanced something. Why? My stomach dropped. In my name. Silence. Then a sigh. Oh, don't sound like that, she said. We were going to tell you. When? My voice cracked despite my effort to stay calm. Because I just found out I'm $45,000 in debt. You're not in debt, she snapped. We are. But it's under my credit, I said. That's identity fraud, Mom. She laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, honey, she said. Don't be dramatic, we raised you. We paid for your food, your school, your clothes. This is just giving back. I felt something break inside me. Did you forge my signature? Another pause. Then, your father handled the paperwork. I hung up. I drove to my parents' house that night. Same house I grew up in. White siding, blue shutters, a porch swing Dad never fixed even though he promised he would. I parked in the driveway, hands clenched on the steering wheel. This was my family. They wouldn't really hurt me, right? Inside, everything smelled like pot roast and lemon cleaner. Familiar, comforting, deceptive. Dad sat at the dining table, scrolling on his phone. Mom was plating food like nothing was wrong. Sit, she said. You look tired. I'm not hungry. Dad looked up. What's this about a loan? I stared at him. You tell me. He leaned back, crossing his arms. We needed money. So you stole my identity. We borrowed, Mom corrected sharply. Without my consent. Dad shrugged. You weren't using your credit for anything important. I laughed, short and sharp. I was planning to buy a house. Mom waved her hand. Houses come and go. Family is forever. That loan could ruin my future. Dad's eyes hardened. We sacrificed for your future. Now it's time you show some gratitude. That word. Gratitude. Like they'd handed me a gift instead of shackles. You didn't even ask me, I said. If we asked, Mom snapped, you would have said no. Because it's illegal. Dad stood up. Lower your voice in my house. I felt like a child again, small, powerless. But something inside me was waking up. You committed fraud, I said quietly. Do you understand that? Mom's face twisted. Are you threatening us? No, I said. I'm stating a fact. Dad scoffed. You wouldn't dare. What kind of daughter turns on her own parents? I looked at them, really looked. And for the first time, I saw strangers. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment from my childhood. Every time they used my savings, temporarily. Every time they guilted me into paying for things I couldn't afford. Every time my needs came second to their comfort. This wasn't sudden. This was a pattern. And I was done being part of it. The next morning, I called the bank. Then I called a lawyer. Then I made a decision that would change everything. Because if my parents thought I'd quietly carry their debt out of loyalty, they didn't know me anymore. The lawyer's name was Marion Collins. She had calm eyes, sharp questions, and the kind of voice that made you feel safe even when she was telling you uncomfortable truths. After reviewing my credit report, bank records, and the forged signature, she leaned back in her chair. This is identity theft, she said plainly, and because it's over $40,000, it's serious. I swallowed. They're my parents. Marion nodded. That doesn't change the law. The only question is, do you want to protect them or protect yourself? That was the question, wasn't it? For years, I'd been trained to protect them, protect their reputation, protect their feelings, protect their pride. No one had ever protected me. If I don't report it, I asked, what happens? She didn't sugarcoat it. You carry the debt. You pay it or default. Your credit stays damaged. Buying a home becomes harder. Some jobs might even question your financial responsibility. My chest tightened. And if I do report it, the loan will be investigated. If proven fraudulent, it will be removed from your record. And my parents, they'll face consequences. I closed my eyes. I didn't want revenge. I wanted my life back. When my parents found out I'd spoken to a lawyer, all hell broke loose. My mom called first. You went behind our backs, she screamed into the phone. After everything we've done for you. I stayed calm. You went behind my back first. My dad took over the call. You think you're better than us now, he snarled. With your big job and apartment. No, I said. I think I deserve not to be robbed. There was a long pause. Then he said something that erased the last bit of guilt I'd been holding on to. If you ruin us over this, he said, don't bother calling yourself our daughter anymore. I hung up. And for the first time, I didn't cry. Word spread quickly. My aunt called to talk sense into me. My cousin messaged saying I was being dramatic. Even my grandmother left a voicemail saying, family doesn't involve police. No one asked if I was okay. No one asked how I felt. They just wanted me quiet. That told me everything I needed to know. The investigation took weeks. The bank confirmed the loan had been opened using my social security number, my date of birth, and a scanned copy of my driver's license, one my parents had borrowed years ago when helping me move. The signature didn't match mine. The payments had come from my father's account. It was undeniable. When the bank called to confirm I was officially disputing the loan, my hands shook, but my voice didn't. Yes, I said, I am. That night, I slept like I hadn't in months. The fallout was brutal. My parents were charged with fraud. They didn't go to jail, but the loan was transferred fully into their responsibility, along with penalties and legal fees. My credit score bounced back within 2 months. The $45,000 disappeared from my report like it had never existed. But my family, they disappeared too. Blocked numbers, unreturned messages, holidays spent alone. At first, the silence hurt. Then it healed. 6 months later, I stood in a small real estate office, signing papers for a modest 2-bedroom townhouse. When the agent handed me the keys, she smiled. "Congratulations, you did this on your own." I held those keys like proof of survival. That night, I sat on the floor of my new living room, surrounded by boxes, and let myself feel everything. The grief, the anger, the freedom. A year passed. I heard through distant relatives that my parents had to sell the house. That porch swing Dad never fixed, still broken when they left. They never apologized. I never expected them to. Sometimes people ask if I regret it. If I regret turning in my own parents. Here's the truth. I didn't destroy my family. I stopped letting them destroy me. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to steal your future. Love doesn't come with debt, and gratitude should never be demanded at gunpoint. I learned that too late. But not too late to walk away whole. The end.